Hello, I'm Sebastian. Welcome to Nine Nar Trees podcast. Today I will summarize and review the book, Fidelity: How to Create a Loving Relationship That Lasts, by Thich Nhat Hanh approaches commitment not as a rule to follow, but as a quality to cultivate from the inside out. Drawing on his well-known teachings on mindfulness, compassion, and ethical living, he reframes fidelity as a daily practice of presence, care, and responsible speech rather than a narrow focus on sexual exclusivity. The book emphasizes that lasting love is built through small, consistent actions that protect trust and reduce suffering for both partners. It also broadens the meaning of fidelity to include faithfulness to your own deepest values and to the well-being of the wider community that relationships are part of. Readers can expect practical guidance on listening, calming strong emotions, and creating an atmosphere where both people feel safe and seen. While rooted in Buddhist principles, the book speaks in accessible language aimed at couples and individuals who want a steadier, kinder foundation for love. I will give you key takeaways from this book. Firstly, redefining fidelity as mindful presence. A central idea is that fidelity begins long before any dramatic test of loyalty. It starts with the capacity to be truly present with another person. The book treats fidelity as a form of mindfulness in action, showing up with attention, not drifting into automatic habits, distraction, or emotional absence. When partners regularly feel unseen, the relationship becomes vulnerable to resentment and loneliness, which can create the conditions for betrayal in many forms, including secrecy, emotional withdrawal, or a double life online. By contrast, presence communicates a steady message of "I am here and I care," which is the emotional groundwork of trust. This topic also expands fidelity beyond a single vow into a pattern of small choices. It includes being faithful to shared time, to the truth of what you feel, and to the intention to reduce suffering. Mindful presence can be practiced through simple rituals such as greeting each other without multitasking, taking a few breaths before responding, and noticing when the mind is inventing stories about the other person. The point is not perfection but awareness. Over time, this kind of faithful attention makes love feel real again, because it is anchored in lived moments rather than ideals. Fidelity becomes a practice of returning, again and again, to the person in front of you. Secondly, the four nutriments and what you feed in love. Thich Nhat Hanh often teaches that the mind and heart are fed by what we consume, and relationships follow the same law. In this framing, fidelity is protected by learning to recognize which inputs nourish love and which poison it. The book encourages readers to pay attention to what they take in through conversations, media, social circles, and private fantasies, because these shape perceptions and desires. If someone repeatedly consumes material that objectifies others, glorifies contempt, or normalizes dishonesty, it becomes harder to remain stable and respectful in a partnership. Conversely, nourishment can come from supportive friendships, uplifting reading, purposeful work, and environments that encourage kindness. This topic is practical because it shifts the focus from policing behavior to designing conditions for success. It asks partners to consider shared agreements about boundaries, digital habits, and time use in a way that is compassionate rather than controlling. The deeper point is that betrayal often begins as a gradual drift in attention and values. By becoming aware of what you are feeding each day, you can interrupt that drift early. The book also highlights self-nourishment, since unmet emotional needs can lead people to seek quick relief elsewhere. Learning to nourish oneself through mindfulness, rest, and meaningful connection reduces the urge to outsource well-being. Fidelity becomes a natural outcome of a well-fed, well-tended life. Thirdly, right speech, deep listening, and repairing trust. Lasting commitment depends on communication that heals rather than harms. The book emphasizes right speech and deep listening as core relationship skills that prevent small misunderstandings from turning into permanent distance. Right speech is not merely being polite, it means speaking truthfully, at the right time, with the intention to reduce suffering. Deep listening means making space for the other person to express pain, fear, or longing without being corrected, judged, or rushed. Together, these practices create emotional safety, which is essential for fidelity because people are less likely to seek refuge elsewhere when they feel hurt at home. This topic is especially relevant when trust has already been strained. The book's approach points toward repairing connection through responsibility and tenderness rather than defensiveness. Instead of treating conflict as a debate to win, it encourages partners to recognize triggers, calm the body, and return to the actual need underneath the words. A mindful pause, conscious breathing, and acknowledging the other person's experience can soften the cycle of accusation and withdrawal. The practice also includes being careful with speech in public, avoiding humiliation, and protecting the partner's dignity. Over time, consistent listening and truthful, gentle speech rebuild a track record of reliability. Fidelity is reinforced because the relationship becomes a place where difficult truths can be spoken without collapsing the bond. Fourthly, managing desire, loneliness, and the illusion of escape. The book treats desire as a natural human energy that becomes destructive when it is driven by misunderstanding. Many betrayals are fueled less by love than by a wish to escape discomfort, boredom, or unresolved pain. This topic explores the idea that chasing a new person often promises relief, but rarely addresses the underlying suffering. Mindfulness helps expose the real emotion beneath the impulse, such as loneliness, insecurity, anger, or grief. When those feelings are recognized and held with compassion, the urgency to act them out decreases. Rather than demonizing attraction, the teaching encourages skillful handling of it. That includes noticing the moment a fantasy begins, understanding what it is trying to provide, and choosing a response aligned with long-term well-being. Partners can also learn to name their unmet needs without blame and to renew intimacy through shared experiences, tenderness, and honest conversation. Another part of this topic is understanding that loneliness can exist even inside a relationship if presence and mutual recognition are missing. Addressing loneliness directly, by rebuilding daily connection and by nurturing individual meaning, reduces the pull of secret alternatives. The book reframes self-control as self-understanding. Fidelity becomes less about suppression and more about seeing clearly that certain choices create suffering, while others create peace. Lastly, ethics of love, commitment to each other and the wider world. A distinctive contribution of the book is its ethical lens. Fidelity is presented as a commitment that affects not only two individuals, but also families, communities, and future generations. When trust breaks, the impact spreads through children, friends, and social stability. Viewing love through this wider frame can strengthen motivation to act responsibly, especially during moments of temptation or conflict. The book aligns fidelity with an ethical life that values non-harm, respect, and compassion. It suggests that true love protects the other person's safety, dignity, and sense of worth. This topic also includes being faithful to your own aspiration to live with integrity. When personal values and behavior align, there is less inner conflict and less need for secrecy. The book encourages readers to consider the kind of person they want to become and the kind of world their actions help create. In practical terms, that can mean setting clear intentions, making commitments explicit, and choosing environments that support wholesome behavior. It can also mean learning forgiveness and reconciliation, not as excusing harm, but as a path to transform suffering when mistakes occur. By grounding fidelity in ethics and compassion, the book offers a sturdier foundation than fear of punishment or social pressure. Commitment becomes a meaningful practice of love that contributes to collective well-being. In conclusion, this book is best suited for couples who want to strengthen trust, individuals preparing for committed partnership, and readers who sense that modern distractions and emotional overload are eroding their ability to love steadily. It is also valuable for anyone healing from conflict, jealousy, or repeated relationship patterns because it focuses on the inner conditions that shape outer behavior. The main benefit is practical. It offers a way to turn fidelity from a stressful promise into a daily, doable practice rooted in mindfulness, honest communication, and compassionate self-awareness. These skills can improve not only romance but also friendships, family life, and workplace relationships by reducing reactivity and increasing care. Compared to many relationship books that rely on techniques, rules, or personality typologies, this one stands out for its ethical depth and its emphasis on presence. It does not treat fidelity as a narrow checklist, but as a whole way of living that protects love from the inside. That broader view can feel especially grounding for readers tired of quick fixes. The guidance encourages building conditions where loyalty becomes natural, because partners feel connected, nourished, and safe. If you want a calm, principled approach to lasting love, this book is worth buying for the clarity of its perspective and the steadiness of its practices. If you would like to support Thich Nhat Hanh, you can buy the book through the Amazon link I've provided in the podcast description. After reading the book, please let me know what you think and share your thoughts. See you around.